Shalom Ashbaka. Today I'm going to explain a lot more about ALaHYM and YaHUHa and the titles that are being used in verses to give an explanation of who they are and who actually was there in the Old Testament in place of God. First, I want to start out with the covenant people. Those that were before Masha were not of a covenant. Masha and after were a part of the old covenant. So let's get into that. Let's get into the first appearance of YaHUHa. Let's go into Exodus chapter 3, verse 2. And spake Malak, or a angel or a representative of YaHUHa. ALaHYM basically means consciously to him. Allah is basically at this time conscious to experience. So he experienced that a Malak of YaHUHa, a representative of YaHUHa, spoke consciously in an experienced way unto him. And the angel appeared as if a flame of fire in the middle of the bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. Moving along this verse, Masha said, I will turn aside now and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. Let's go into this verse, verse 4. And saw YaHUHa, when YaHUHa saw all, when he turned to his side to see, called consciously him ALaHYM, called consciously unto him ALaHYM, or the conscious giving beings, the people of the conscious giving beings, out of the midst of the bush, and spake and said unto Masha, Moses, and said, and Moses said, here I am. Moving on, we're going to move into verse 6 and verse 7. And said, I am ALaHYM, which basically means of thy fathers, your fathers. When it is used in this context of his fathers, his ancestors, it is saying their ALaHYM. And it goes on to say that along down the line I am the ALaHYM of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this ALaHYM, these ALaHYM are the conscious giving beings of all the family line, which if we scroll all the way up to where it was first given, in verse 2, this conscious giving being is a malach, an angel. So it is a specific representative of YaHUHa, a very high being. It's kind of hard to put the comprehension of ALaHYM into play and giving full foundational meanings of what this is, but I'm trying to give idea is what I'm trying to establish here. That there is a lot going on, and we would need to study the individual words and verses of the Old Testament to see what was actually there. Moving on to verse 7. And said YaHUHa, I have surely seen your afflictions of thy people. Now I know it says YaHUHa, but don't forget that it is still a malach, a representative of YaHUHa. I'm going to get into talking about a little bit of what YaHUHa, who YaHUHa is. The name of YaHUHa has been extremely, tremendously important for all and has not been done away with. So basically, if you read all of this from the burning bush, it was a malach, a representative, a servant, a messenger in place of YaHUHa. Now I'm moving on to the 10 Commandments. Let's go into verse 1 of chapter 20. Yadabar, which means a specific way of giving words, basically speaking, and it's using ALaHYM, or the beings that give consciousness, the people of consciousness, and it's using Aleph, Tau, and then it says all the Dabarim ALaHYM, which basically means the conscious giving ones that gave consciously to you, for him to experience, for him to see, for him to hear in his mind, or to see, to experience. La'amar, which basically means for saying, that they were saying. Now if we want to see who was speaking unto Masha on Sinai, we can go back to verse 19, where it says that Masha went up the mountain in verse 3. And Masha went up to the conscious experience of the conscious giving beings, ALaHYM, the ALaHYM, and they called consciously to him, to experience for him as YaHUHa. So if we go back to chapter 20, it does not say a malach anymore. It's basically saying ALaHYM without a title. Let's go into verse 2. This is the first commandment, and it reads, I am YaHUHa, your ALaHYM. The way to explain this is very hard to explain. There is basically a hierarchy of conscious beings that are ever existent beyond a veil that we cannot see and perceive of, that have power. And they stand in place of YaHUHa, the name of YaHUHa, and they protect the name of YaHUHa. They come in the name of YaHUHa, and they allow you to experience YaHUHa by giving consciousness to you. Let's go into verse 3, because this is the important one, the very first commandment. And it says, no other YaHUHa, no other ALaHYM that comes in the name of YaHUHa is above me. So as it is safe to say right now that this is very much a malak, an angel that has come in the name of YaHUHa, and he himself is what has brought. So basically this verse is, there is no other conscious giving being that is above me that comes in the name of YaHUHa. So they are basically explaining that there is again a hierarchy of these conscious beings, and the malak, the angel, are basically at the top at that point in time that was being shared. Now if we go back to chapter 3 of Exodus, verse 13, it says that Moshe said unto ALaHYM, the ALaHYM, the conscious giving one. And if we scroll down, and it says ALaHYM is the word that is used. So basically, my conscious giving creators, beings of my forefathers. And it's saying, what name shall I say unto them? Go into verse 14. And ALaHYM, or the people of the conscious creating, existing beings, all consciously spoke to Moshe and said, I am that I am. At that point in time, that is the way that they wanted to be represented as. And if we scroll down, it says, thou shalt say unto the children of Yasharal, I am, have sent unto you. All of this is prophecy, Mashpaka. All of this is for reasons. All of this is connecting the dots. All of Scripture is being fulfilled. The entire plan of our existence has been scripted out and has been carried out with these exact words, so that it would be given in the future tense of things that had not yet come to pass yet. So Mashpaka, these conscious giving beings don't really give names. They kind of give titles, and they put kind of like an outline of a ranking to what they are. But they all are basically coming in the name of YaHUHa. And YaHUHa's name is very precious for what has been used throughout all of time. And the commandment still reads, I am YaHUHa, your conscious giving being. So the idea of ALaHYM is not to single out individual ALaHYM at this point. It is to worship the name of YaHUHa. And YaHUHa is what we should be praising still. And then it goes on to say, you shall not make any idols of any kind and bow down and worship. Let's go into verse 5. And it says, do not bow down and serve them, for I am YaHUHa, your conscious giving being. So the way that it speaks, we are not to worship ALaHYM. We are to worship the name of YaHUHa. The name of YaHUHa is powerful. The name has been used to give consciousness, to give representation of the Most High. But yes, Maspasha, there is a hierarchy of these conscious beings, and there is a story that is being spoken with these names that are given for them. And the way in the Iberit, or the Hebrew, the words that were given are Al Shaddai, or El Shaddai, and Al ALaHYM, which is basically depicted in a few verses like Al ALaHYM, which is basically saying the Most High. But there is one title, one name that stands out from these titles. Now I'm in the book of Isaiah, or YaHUHa, and we go down to verse 1. And it says, I saw in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw ADaNY sitting upon a throne high, lifted up with his train, but that also means his skirt or his robe, filled the temple. Let's go into ADaNY. Now, scrolling through, you can see where ADaNY is used as it is being talked to. It is a specific title used in specific verses in specific times that it was talking with ADaNY of YaHUHa. Coming down, we can see YaHUSHUA, or Joshua. Let's go into this verse, chapter 5, verse 14. And said, no, but captain of the armies, or the hosts. This also can mean prince as well. Prince, captain of the armies, or the hosts of YaHUHa. I now come, and YaHUSHUA fell on his face to the arats, and did worship, and said unto him, what saith ADaNY? There it is. Unto his servant. Now, Mashpaka, now that you have an idea of what I just shared right there, the prince of the armies of YaHUHa, ADaNY himself of YaHUHa. Let's go into Isaiah or Yashayahu, chapter 7, verse 14. Therefore ADaNY himself shall give you a sign. ADaNY of YaHUHa shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a bond, a son, and his name shall be Immanuel. Rimamu YaHUHa. Okay, Mashpaka, we're going to go to the New Testament now. I'm going to give a couple clearing up of some of the titles and the names that can kind of show with some explanations. Let's go to Luke 1. Scroll down. Here's some backstory. So in Luke chapter 1, verse 26, the angel or the Malach, Gabriel, was sent from, and they are using the word theos. So it is observed as theos. We do not know if it is the place of ALaHYM or YaHUHa or such things like that, because the Greeks were not the chosen people, and their language that they had did not have the type of words to be used like the Hebrew people, the chosen people. They were not given words for their gods, and their gods were false gods. But scrolling down to verse 32, here it is. He will be great, and he will be called Son of ALaHYM, which is Son of the Most High, which the Lord God will give him the throne of his father Daud. Scrolling down to verse 35, you will see where it says the Ruach HaKodesh will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. Therefore also the Holy One who is born from you will be called the Son of God. And they used theos, they didn't use titles. So in this instance, this is the explanation I would say at this time, is someone would need to study these exact words and the grammar points that are used for these names, these words. Let's go into this verse. Scrolling down to where it says Son, which is the Son of God. But they use this word, which is a version of theos, which means God in Greek, where this word is the speaking of God himself. Here's an explanation, Mashpaka. So in Greek, they have nominative, genitive, additive, and one other one. There's 4 of them, and they speak in with ending letters at the ends of the words to show who they represent and what they represent when they say the word. So if you understand how the ends of the words are written, where this means he himself, God himself, and then it says this word, it means his God, we now understand that he is the son of his. So as of right now, Mashpaka, this is saying that he is the son of ADaNY, which is the head ruler of all the armies of the Malach and ALaHYM that come in Yahweh's name. That is why he was named Immanuel. If we go into a verse that says the name Immanuel, and go into the Hebrew name, it has all at the end of it, just like ALaHYM. And his name literally means with us is consciousness. I'm in YaHUHa chapter 1, verse 18. And to continue on with the explanations, it says in this verse, no one have seen Theos at any time. Let's go into this verse. This right here is the exact version of what is being used for the word. Which if you do a comparison This is basically saying an object. Theos as an object, God as an object, as Him. At this time, I would like to say that no one has seen YaHUHa at any time. Only the begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, He hath declared Him. One would have to know YaHUHa completely and be conscious of YaHUHa completely to see the Father. And the only way to see the Father and know consciously is to know YaHUHa. I want it to be very clear right now, Mashpaka, that none are to take away from the name of YaHUHa. Even though I am explaining in my videos that ALaHYM come in YaHUHa, that Malak come in YaHUHa. We worship YaHUHa. We are servants of YaHUHa and ALaHYM that come in the name of YaHUHa. And that is basically what I've been led to share at this point in time, Mashpaka. I palal that the children of Yasharal will see this message and they themselves will ask YaHUHa, ALaHYM, and they will share and clear things up more. That is all, Mashpaka. Ahaba shalom shalom.